Have you ever stopped to think about how the invisible, microscopic world literally controls the ultimate financial success of your entire farm? It's kind of fascinating, right? We spend so much time focusing on what we can easily see, the pastures, the fences, the animals. But today, we're going to look a whole lot closer. We're going to explore how managing the invisible environment completely dictates the macroscopic results of your flock. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're actually translating some incredibly cutting-edge French veterinary tutorials into a comprehensive English masterclass on animal preparation. We'll be pulling specific strategies from these sources to help you optimize your flock's reproduction. Think of it as an inside-out blueprint for success, starting deep inside with nutrition and working our way right out to physical hoof health. All right, let's quickly run through our agenda for today. 1. The high-stakes breeding season. 2. Fueling the flock through nutrition. 3. The very real threat of lameness. 4. Polyferment and natural defenses. And 5. Real results from everyday farmers.
Okay, let's jump right into Section 1, the high-stakes breeding season.
Think about your rams for a second. Even though they represent just a tiny fraction of your total flock, man, they literally carry the weight of your entire farm's profitability right on their shoulders. Their reproductive performance is the absolute bottleneck for your financial success, because if they aren't fully prepared, the whole system just completely falters.
So the goal here is hitting that gold standard target, a 95% gestation rate. And the sources we're looking at are super clear on this. You absolutely cannot wait until the breeding season actually begins. Optimal male management has to start at least 2 months prior. It's totally a proactive game, not a reactive one. Moving right along to Section 2, fueling the flock with nutrition.
The crucial starting point here is a concept known as flushing. Basically, this is a highly recommended strategy where you temporarily boost their energy-rich feed 2 months before breeding. It dramatically improves the animal's overall body condition, and as a direct result, it absolutely supercharges their fertility. It's kind of like giving a professional athlete highly specialized fuel right before a big training camp.
But listen, all that effort goes completely down the drain if your foundation is rotten. High-quality forage is what ensures a stable metabolism and high fertility. If your forage is degraded, moist, or poorly conserved during this super-sensitive transition time, well, you're just inviting disastrous metabolic issues. We're talking acidosis, major energy deficiencies, or severe infections like listeriosis. And when that happens, fertility just instantly plummets.
So how do we protect that internal engine and guarantee the forage quality? Well, the sources detail this fascinating biological approach using a natural solution called lactile-ev. It actually works in 3 very precise steps right inside the silo. First, it rapidly acidifies the forage environment. Second, it firmly stabilizes the pH. And third, and this is definitely the most vital part, this stable environment completely blocks dangerous pathogens like mold and listeria from ever developing in the first place.
And let me be totally clear, optimizing that internal rumen pays massive dividends across all ruminants. When you perfectly stabilize that fermentation, the data shows incredible metrics. For example, a proven 1.9-liter milk increase per cow daily in tested dairy herds. That's huge. It proves that managing microscopic digestion translates instantly to measurable high-performance output.
Which brings us to Section 3, the threat of lameness.
You know, we often think of lameness as merely a mobility issue, right? Just a limp. But the veterinary insights tell a much darker story. Lameness is the ultimate libido killer. Sure, it reduces a ram's physical ability to mount, but worse than that, the invisible, constant pain creates massive internal stress. And this stress completely disrupts the hormonal production that is absolutely necessary for successful reproduction.
To fully grasp this threat, picture the pristine anatomy of a perfectly healthy hoof. Think specifically about the interdigital space, that area of skin right between the claws. In a perfectly healthy animal, it's clean, it's intact, but it is incredibly vulnerable to whatever environment they're walking on every single day. So when animals are subjected to wet, pathogenic bedding, that healthy hoof is just destroyed. You get interdigital dermatitis taking hold, leaving it inflamed, raw, and incredibly painful. Or white line disease starts literally detaching the hoof wall. You can easily imagine how this level of physical deterioration would just instantly shut down a ram's reproductive drive. No question.
So, let's talk solutions in Section 4, polyferment and natural defenses.
The sources give us a really strict, proactive prevention checklist. You absolutely must inspect feet weeks before breeding,
perform corrective trimming, and instantly isolate any sick animals. But the absolute key highlighted here is applying preventative biological treatments directly into the litter where the animals live and sleep.
And this is where things get really cool. The translated literature highlights a fascinating biological tool called polyferment biosecurity. Basically, instead of waiting for a bad infection to happen and then nuking it with harsh chemicals, scientists have developed this specifically formulated blend of beneficial bacteria and non-pathogenic fungi.
By spraying this beneficial microbial solution directly onto the bedding, farmers can establish a living environmental shield. These good microbes continuously outcompete and suppress the dangerous pathogens, specifically aggressive bacteria like Dichelobacter nodosus. That's the primary culprit behind severe foot rot. So you're essentially fighting biology with biology.
All right, final section. Number 5. Real results from farmers.
The proof is always in the application, right? We have a great testimony from farmer Pascal Echegonberry, who manages dairy, sheep, and beef cows. He sprays this solution all year round to keep that pathogenic pressure low. And his takeaway is pretty stark. He says the literal moment he stops this consistent microbial management, the severe foot rot infections return to his flock.
And then we have Joanna Baquet, who builds on this perfectly. She notes that by mastering the microbiome of the litter, she can control dangerous heating in the bedding, all while completely avoiding the reliance on antibiotics. It's a totally sustainable, highly effective way to keep the environment safe and the animals thriving.
So the big overarching takeaway from these success stories, and really from all the French tutorials we've unpacked in this explainer today, is that managing the microscopic world is the modern farmer's absolute greatest tool for macroscopic flock performance. Whether it's the internal digestion of high-quality forage or the external protection of hooves in the bedding, microbiology is the unseen foundation of your agricultural success. I want to leave you with a provocative thought to really chew on. Exactly how much profit, how much growth, and how much performance is your farm sacrificing right now to microscopic threats that you can't even see? Because when you master the invisible, you master the outcome. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I hope this gives you a powerful, fresh perspective on managing your flock.